Okay, ready. Bye. Oh, I missed that. Oh. Heart of War, what up, though? Oh, that was out of tone. I need to tone this. I want to stop calling you by your channel name. I feel like you told me your name in the past. Can you remind me your name again? Yeah, that was super flat. I'm gonna tell y'all about these chords. Okay. I got an A minor to a F. I would say that would be major if I decided to play it properly. A minor, F major, G major, A minor. And then it ends with the E sus to major. That's sus4, suspended 4 to major. Question though, y'all even know what these chords actually are. Y'all even know how to play these chords. A lot of people know A minor, that's an easy chord. Looks similar to the E major chord, but take it down some strings. But people know E major because it's similar to A minor, but they struggle with their index finger being a bar chord to play the F chord. So when I'm playing this, I'm switching between A minor to F to G major until I end the entire cycle by playing that E sus, which is similar to an A major chord. Here's A major, open 2-2-2 open, starting from the A string on down. But E sus is the same exact shape, except now you're starting from the low pitch E string. So open, second fret of A, second fret of D, second fret of G, E sus, until it resolves down to an E major. Now, when I'm playing these chords, I'm not playing it. I'm not just playing full chords, like full bar chords, or just all 6 strings or whatever I do. I'm only playing, some people would call these probably suspended power chords. So here's my power chord, and I'm playing it like this. So 5, 7, 9. and it's a stretch. I know I'm ducking my ring finger out the way, but I would not recommend that. That makes it fatter, like PHAT. How you pronounce your name? Linnell? But what up, though? I'm not counting to 10. Linnell, you sending a lot of messages. Are you saying no, I pronounced it wrong? That's a weird looking emoji on a computer. I teach high schoolers, bro. They be trying to trick me into saying 6'7" all day long. So if you wanted me to just say 6'7", I'll just say 6'7". But I'm not gonna count to 10 just to get your enjoyment of me saying that. Appreciate you for the sub. Now, what's the joke with that? What's the joke? What's up with these number jokes? Y'all have yet to ask me a question about guitar. That means that you ain't read the pinned message, but you telling me to say words. Terry? Yeah, I'm talking to you, Terry. Z, always a blessing with you in the chat. Remind me as well, you're a musician too, right? Producer as well? Oh. Years old. Gotta freshen up on your theory. You saying that like you a student? You still in college or something? Or what makes you say you gotta freshen up on your theory? Or you just saying that for your own personal pleasure? You mainly just got an ear at best. Nah, I feel like that's the main thing that most people don't have. Well, the more that I engage with other musicians, I think having a solid ear is the most valued aspect of being a musician. Like when I'm playing with people and I can hear what they're doing and I'm able to just join in immediately. They're like, "Yeah, you got a really nice ear. Yeah, that's great." I'm like, "Isn't that just standard? Shouldn't everybody have a nice ear?" But um, I think that plus the theory side of it though does make you completely unbeatable. Leonard, what are you even talking about? Linnell? I keep calling you Leonard. Lionel? You don't even know what city I'm in. My guitar's slightly broken. That's why I be buzzing like that. But as I was saying, yeah, like theory, having the theory plus the ear is like top tier. Like if you have both of those put together, then you really are like goaded. But if all you have is just theory, no ear, then it's like you're harder to work with because most people don't have the theory. If all you have is the ear but no theory, you're harder to work with because you probably don't even hear what you're doing wrong or what you're doing weird. Like there's a keys player that I've been like working with lately, and we be doing simple pop chords. Like the last chord is just minor. He's supposed to play minor, but he keeps doing that dominant sharp nine, dominant seven with a sharp nine, and it's just like I was like, bro, no, the last chord's minor. He's like, I don't even know what that means, bro. I'm like, how do you not know what it means, but you're playing these fancy things? Leonel, Leonel, Lionel. That don't help, bro. I tried. Oh, I'm assuming you're talking to Z when you asked, do they play guitar too? The real question is, Lionel, Le- Leonel, do you play guitar? Because if you do, what type of guitar do you play? E electric, A acoustic. Right now I'm on the acoustic, but I prefer electric. Leonel. Gotcha. Oh, oh, G major. So yeah, I started on acoustic with my brother when I first started playing. We um we used to have two guitars together playing like "Rolling in the Deep" by Adele. And I would just listen to like the radio playing a whole bunch of power chords to almost every song that I heard. Leo, perfect. Keep it simple. Uh, but yeah, I started on acoustic with my brother. We used to just be playing like those type of things, and I pretty much played acoustic through my entire developmental days for like my first 12 years of playing guitar. I was only on acoustic. Grazie, grazie. My first 12 years of guitar, I was only on acoustic. And when I got to college and I told them I want to study guitar for real, they pretty much said, okay, yeah, here's the songs we're learning. You got an electric, right? And I said, no, I have an acoustic. And then I brought the acoustic to the class and the practice. And it was like a cheap $100, $150 guitar. And it really wasn't, it didn't sound good. It didn't have no volume. It didn't even have a pickup jack. Kind of like this. This don't have a pickup jack, but I have a pickup put into it. So it is just, I ended up having to finesse the system in regards to getting me an electric. And when I got an electric, I fell in love with electric. And then it got stolen within like a semester, not even a full semester. So the electric that I have now was a gift because my electric got stolen. Mm. Leo, you saying some real questionable stuff. I'm like on the verge of muting you talking about playing with your sister. Unless you're talking about learning guitar. If so, please complete your sentences. Gotta make it make sense when you're talking. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I thought it was crazy that somebody stole my guitar too, and I was mad at first. But then, sometimes you just gotta take credit for whatever you messed up. So I wouldn't say I messed up and I allowed them to steal my guitar, but string, the campus guitars, like the string side of campus, the string side of the music department or whatever, had lockers that showed the visibility of the guitar. Like you could see straight inside the locker. The lockers weren't like a blank wall. So, but yeah, I started in when I was 6 years old, for lack of better words. I was trying to think about the year and all of that, but then I did the math. Yeah, I was 6 years old when I started, and I really wasn't doing nothing with it. Just those basic chords. I remember this being like one of my first songs that I'd be playing when I could get an F chord down. Oh, that song is Earth Angel. Earth Angel, Earth Angel, will you be mine? Or something like that. My darling love. 6 years old. And yeah, I was playing those basic cage chord songs until I started getting fancy with cage chords. I learned this song by, I don't remember the artist name, maybe Everlast. But the song is called What It's Like. I remember the first time I showed somebody that riff, they were like, "Oh, you don't gotta get all fancy on us," just because they never heard somebody play a hammer-on in person. Hammer-ons and pull-offs. Ah, yeah, classic. I'm going to the B section. Same chord shape. You just move it up and down. Ah, I missed the string. I'm doing that section again. Wedding ring, man. Going on a year of marriage. You struggled with open chords for a while. You had to stick out the bar chords till you could move your fingers fast enough. Yeah. I don't even, so it's like, I knew I struggled with those things, but I don't remember struggling with them as much as like, I'm a teacher, Z. You see me in the classroom. So I be looking at my students struggling, switching back and forth between chords. And I'm like, is it really that challenging? Because I really don't remember struggling as much as I see them struggle. But granted, I'm not as close to being a beginner as they are, so I don't. But I did learn a few helpful tips from them helping each other out on how to get better at switching chords quickly. And now I really just take what they teach each other and teach it to the back at them for like the next generation because they're closer to being beginners. So oftentimes I have them teach each other all the time. I'm like, yeah, go help out your neighbor. Then I just sit there watching. And I'm like, wow, you are explaining this horribly. But in the midst of your horrible explanation, you got that one inkling of good information to share. So usually I'm sharing that type of stuff. But yeah. Ah, that's that. Oh, I hate when I butcher chords. Okay. One moment, y'all. I'm finna add some text on the screen just because I'm partially live right now as an ad, and I would like to keep emphasizing what I am doing. Rolling advertisement. I seen a message just come through. Yeah, I saw her original message the first time, Leo. Appreciate you. It's my wedding ring. Uh, what am typing? What am I typing? What am I typing? What am I typing? Ask me anything about guitar. Ask me about free guitar lessons. Oop, hurting myself. There we go. Oop, still hurting myself. Text, move you down. Make you smaller. I can't make the text size smaller. Oh, how do I do that? Select font. Size. Yeah, that size is ridiculous. Let's do 144. Still ridiculous, but more manageable. Okay. Select color. That's not how I want to do this. Select font. Underline. No. Is there like a way to put something in the background? I wonder something I can do to put it in the background. Properties, filter, effects filter, scroll, noise, horizontal, just like that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it above my head. Gotta go. Peace. Thanks for joining the live. I think this scroll could be a little bit quicker. Let's go that pace. Yep. Looks good. Alrighty. Oh. All right. I'll butcher that. Sounds bad. I do not know how to pronounce your name. But thank you, though. I was trying to pronounce your name. I couldn't figure that out. Do you play? What type of guitar do you play? Electric or acoustic? I got an electric too. It's in the corner. I just didn't feel like pulling it out. And if I was on the electric, I wouldn't be able to hear myself because I don't have no speakers or headphones plugged up right now. Thank you. I made it myself. I did. Me and my wife actually made a duet to this song. If you're interested in learning how to write music or record, I can teach you that. Like, I'm a full-time teacher. But yeah, I'm a full-time teacher. I actually teach high school guitar. I have three high school guitar classes where I teach 100 beginners every single day. I do not teach them how to write their own songs, but I teach them how to play the instrument. Prior to teaching how to play an instrument, though, I've been making beats pretty much since 2011. Wow, has the time flown. It's been 14 years since I started making beats, writing songs with people, all of the things. Did it for one of my brother's school projects, and been doing it ever since, if you will. I met my wife. She sang, threw her on some songs. I was like, you don't have a choice. So I want to say that was the second song we ever wrote together. The first one. Yeah. I'm glad you think it's cool. That's the whole thing, though. It don't really go nowhere other than that. That's the whole progression. Good R&B progression, though. Yeah, I hear that. I haven't really been trying to push for fame. There was a point in time where I was trying to push for like being famous, being known. Now I'm just happy. Like I don't think most people care about happiness enough, but I care a great deal about happiness. Being able to just grab my guitar and play whatever comes to mind. You know what I'm saying? Like that's freedom. Oh, bunch of that. I'm gonna do that again. Ah. Hmm. Oh. I bet you do. Ah. There it goes. What brand is it if you recognize it? You look like somebody knows some songs. I kind of just love open string songs that allow the open strings to ring, but it not just being basic open cage chords. So to hear this string over a chord like that, or this string over a chord like that, that's gorgeous. You would say the brand, but what's the fun in that? You got to leave the people wondering. You don't remember the brand, that's why. You try to wonder what it is. you're talking about. But anyway, moving on. All right, moving on to a whole bunch of nothing. There's another open string song that I kind of like stole, adapted, if you will. I took a song that I played at church and started like playing it very extravagantly one day when I was in the hallway at the school that I teach at. And the song for church is called Everything. It's just two chords, E major to an A sus2. It's just those two chords back and forth. With that sus4 lick, and then maybe this. All of that is on the second fret. You're talking about Prototype. Strumming pattern only matters so much. This song the other day, for the life of me, the strumming pattern was messing. It messes up a lot of people. My best friend, when I was teaching her how to play guitar, Prototype was one of the songs that she wanted to learn, but she couldn't figure out the strumming pattern. So I said, just ignore it. And just allow it to be something that could just help you be creative. So, there it goes. That's how I flip this song. Izzy, of course your brain doesn't work like that. I'll teach you the strumming pattern. So I'll flip that chord progression to add a B section. Still open strings. I got the open B string and open E string ringing this entire time. I just feel like it's so pretty. Back to the A section. Open B and E the whole time. It's like the song from Adventure Time. That's a concept. I've heard a lot of different people saying this reminds them of a lot of songs. Somebody said "Good Day." Good day on my mind. I don't know the words to that song. But SZA. But that's part of the reason why I like the D section. Because it takes it away from what people think the song is. And people don't really hear this section happening in the song. It doesn't really follow like traditional music theory rules. And I kind of like that. Oh, sorry, I did not read your message, Ali G. Let me get closer to the screen. I'm acting like I can see. Paul, I just started out playing a month and a half ago. How do people pick out chords? It seems whenever I do, the notes never sound like they're in the right order. Right and wrong when it comes to music, it's completely subjective. And yeah, I'm glad it does remind you of that SZA song, because that was what I first heard when people were telling me the other songs. But right or wrong is completely subjective. If you are playing guitar in order to be a professional guitarist, yes, there is a right or wrong way of doing things. If your goal is to play with a band, not to play things that you're creating for yourself, but to play with a band that is hiring you to play a song the way how the song was made, yes, there is a right and wrong way of doing things. And if your goal is to play behind, I would even not even just say with the band, behind an artist who wants you to play things a certain type of way. Yes, there's a right and wrong way of doing things. Now, if you're just playing just to play, I would like for you to remove the concept of there being a right or wrong way of doing things. Because at the end of the day, music is subjective. Music is art. Music is expression. So even if it doesn't sound like it's right, there could be a lot of factors on why it doesn't sound right. But if it feels good, if it's comfortable, and your goal isn't to stretch past your comfort zone, but you're just doing it just to do it, then relish in the fact that it's okay, in my honest opinion. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm not able to truly tell you about if the chords that you were trying to play are right compared to your goal, unless I knew what you were trying to play. Like if you were trying to play an A minor chord and you just so happen to have your fingers in the wrong place and it don't sound like an A minor chord, then it's like if you're playing this, think of that as an A minor chord. And no, that's not an A minor chord. So it's like, yes, there can be a right or wrong when you're trying to play something specific. Now, if you have specific questions about how to actually fix that, I am giving free guitar lessons to anybody who wants free guitar lessons. I'm in the business of sharing this lifestyle with people and sharing the knowledge with people. That's part of the reason why I've been going live and doing guitar Q&As, because I want to answer people's questions when it comes to how can I get better as a guitarist. So if you are trying to hit a specific question and you would like to tailor that time to have that time to talk about that, then reach out to me about how you can get free guitar lessons, or ask me in the chat, how can you get free guitar lessons? And I'll further explain. If not, I'm going to keep going to jamming if you don't got no further questions. Continue to ask questions though, because I don't mind explaining things. I really prefer to explain things. The whole premise of this is not to be a personal jam session, but to be a guitar Q&A. Oh, I need to cut my left hand nails. How do I play that? It's in the E shape. You can email me on how to receive those lessons. However, if you don't feel like emailing and you just are ready to sign up at this very moment, and again, the lessons are free. I'm offering one free lesson for anybody that joins a live stream when I'm offering it. The password to the lessons are the word community. The link is in my bio, or in the description. It's also in the bio. So if you hit the description, wrong side. If you hit the description, like the triple dots at the top, and hit the word description, you will see something that says free guitar lessons. And then you can literally, and it's crazy that I'm telling you all of these instructions, but I don't even know if that's how things work. I need to test it for myself. And that's dead. Checking it on my iPad while I promote and all of those things. Volume down. Yes. And I'm live. Boom. Clicks on the live. I turned the volume down and the volume did not turn down. Yep. Triple dots. Why is it not letting me turn the volume off? Triple dots, description. It's not even letting you click links, but you can copy and paste that link. The link for the guitar lessons is going to be password protected, but the password is community. Now, if you don't feel like clicking on that link or doing all of those things, the password might change every so often. And if you're just like, I don't know how to get to it, you could just reach out to me via email. My email is contact at the name of this channel. So contact at paulneilmusic.com. Obviously, because you got to have a dot something. But yeah. Free guitar lessons. I'm offering it to the world. Really specifically my YouTube community. Anybody who has joined my YouTube live streams and they are trying to, or YouTube, watch the recent YouTube video and they're trying to get better at guitar. I'm actually going to leave my live stream up in the background. Really specifically my YouTube. Or YouTube, watch the recent trying to build my watch hours. Oh, almost pulled the thing with me. There we go. Rich. There we go. Bam. Doop-bop-dippity. Pleasure's mine. Pleasure is mine. Okay, I'm gonna have to move the iPad completely out the room because I'm gonna continue to hear myself talk, and I don't want to hear that. So, one moment, y'all. Hacking the system, gaining my hours. Anyway, though, yeah, chords. I want to say that like that's the most vital part about being a guitarist, playing chords. And I teach guitar. A lot of guitarists be running away from chords. Like, I put my students on the chord part of the song. They're like, ugh, why? I'm like, bro, why are you complaining? You need to learn it. Chords is where the music is. You didn't. You said you like chords. I remember that, Izzy. But you know, a lot of people definitely was complaining about it. They wanted to just stick to the bass line, keep it simple. Is there a collection of chords that you like the most, Izzy? Like whenever you're playing guitar, do you gravitate to just picking up your guitar and just playing a certain song because it is a certain chord progression? I see that you are back. I appreciate you for mentioning how back you are. You're blocking the message that I'm trying to read that says, what is it called when people play a song by themselves? They use multiple guitars, so they do some sort of thing where they pick out the notes while strumming. Depends. Depends on what you're referring to. Now, there is a concept called chord melody where people are playing the melody of a music on top of chords. Like if I was playing Isn't She Lovely? That's the melody. And then the chorus. And if I put that together, oh. That could be a way that might be answering your question when people play a song by themselves that uses multiple guitars. But if you're talking about where they pick out notes while strumming, it could be a right hand technique as well. If you're talking about hybrid picking, where somebody might be picking, but they're using their other three fingers to play the other parts. I'm struggling to do it. You know what I'm saying? But hybrid picking. Or if you're just talking about arpeggiating notes. Oh, you're talking about fills. Walk up and walk downs. Okay. So you're really just talking about guitarists taking liberties of filling up the dead space whenever there are other instruments that are not present, possibly. So like let's say if I was playing let's say I was playing Lovely Day. The guitar part is not just chords. It's not just chords. I think it's just like a bunch of notes. And that doesn't really sound like it makes sense if you're playing guitar by yourself. So one thing that you could do is play the chords and add in all those fills, like ad-libs. We usually call those embellishments. One thing that I love, one of my favorite embellishments to really do personally for myself is like a walking bass line. So usually I'm playing without a bassist, but I do love to play with a bassist because it doesn't require me to play the low notes of chords. So if I was playing this song, so you see how I'm moving the bass line. Other embellishment types that I like to do are hammer-ons. That was it right there. And that was another one. And just licks. Oh. There goes a hammer-on again. Walking bass line. Okay, I'm gonna do that again. B section. Hammer-ons there. Walking bass line. I could have played that with the chords too. That way it could have been better. I'm gonna do the B section again. With that walking bass line, but chording it. Is that closer to what you were asking for, Rutherford Chase? You kind of like playing really any chord, even challenging ones, because you love the ones that challenge, but also the ones that feel perfect. Embellishments. That's the word, Chase. Because you always feel like something's missing when you play. So you guess you need to actually learn some music theory. Embellishments are kind of challenging. You can learn some simple ones. There are some simple ones. But yes, I mean, music theory, don't run away from music theory. Please, please. Everybody always wants to run away from music theory if their goal was to learn an instrument and they'd just rather play the instrument because music theory doesn't require you to have your instrument in order to get good at it. But don't run away from music theory. Now, there's really four aspects to practice in which anybody should be doing. Everybody should be doing. Like don't think that you can just get away from guitar. Don't think that you could just get away from guitar or get away from getting better at your instrument because you are not doing these few things. But there are four aspects of practice which you should be doing, and four approaches to practice which you should be doing in every practice session. That is emphasizing a moment of technique, emphasizing a moment of creativity, emphasizing a moment of learning songs, and emphasizing a moment of music theory. You should be running that in all of your practice sessions. So what do I mean by that? If you are practicing and you pick up the guitar and you don't do things where you are hyper focusing on playing with proper technique or doing things that will improve your technique, then did you really practice, or are you just putting on a show? Like, are you doing things that are making you better, or are you just doing things to stay in your comfort zone? So me personally, my speed isn't as adequate as I like it to be, and my right hand technique isn't as adequate as I like it to be. Like I don't have a good, I don't sweep pick, I don't hybrid pick. So if I wanted to make those my approaches to practice, that is what I would do for my technique side. So as I am doing technique, I'll probably be doing a little bit more like sweep picking, but not necessarily just to do it. Obviously, I'll be doing it to a metronome because if you're going to do any technique practice, you should always do it to a metronome. Let's say I'm trying to focus on my speed, I would be doing speed drills, like I would even say chromatic ones. Let me do that again. So a metronome, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3, or to a metronome though. That way I could actually speed it up without just feeling like I'm rushing it, but I'm actually putting progress behind it. So actively being intentional about the approach to technique, or intentional about the approach to being creative. This is when you would go to YouTube, type in guitar backing track, guitar jam tracks, and now you're sitting there listening to like a random groove and you're trying to solo on top of it. Being intentional about being creative. All of that was off the top of my head. Now, when you are in musical settings, oftentimes you will not have the moments. Oftentimes you will have a moment where somebody's going to push you and ask for you to throw a solo or like do something on the fly. And if you feel like you have not really explored that, then when you're in those musical settings where you have to do a solo or you have to improvise or you have to do some embellishments or something, then you're going to be like, I don't know what to do because you haven't practiced or expanded that creative muscle inside of you. So I've already talked about technique. I've already talked about creativity. I haven't really talked much about learning songs, but this is the moment where you're getting into your more professional bag, where you're trying to play the songs just like the original, where you're, I would even say practicing with sheet music. So if you want to open a book or look up things online like lead sheets or things of that nature, that way you can actually get better, but you're not just learning a song only by ear, unless that is your goal to learn a song by ear. Then of course, learn the song. But I'm hyper emphasizing the fact that you should probably be learning the song the way how it is written. So it's one thing to say, yeah, this song has just three chords: A minor, and F major, and G major. But is that where they are playing it, or are they playing it here? Or are they playing it somewhere else? Oh, messed that up. Are they only playing 3 strings? Are they playing inversions? Are they playing, you know what I'm saying? Are they playing with the root? Are they playing it in the shape that you're playing it? Because just in case you play it here, does not sound the exact same way as if you were to play it here. Now the highest note that I can hit is a high pitch A versus if I was playing it here, the highest note I can hit is an open E string. I hit the high pitch A string, high pitch A note on the 5th fret of E. So it's like you're really not, you're not doing the things that you should be doing unless you are emphasizing every aspect of practice. So being specific on your technique for at least a little bit of your practice session, being specific on your creativity, emphasizing your creativity for a little bit of your practice session, emphasizing the proper way of learning the song, meaning like learning it note by note, learning it the way how the actual artist intended to play it, not just freestyling and jamming and saying, yeah, I learned the song because, you know, but like, even if the sheet music that you look up is wrong, hearing where it messes up at and making those adjustments, that way you can make the best education. And even if like you're reading sheet music, playing it the exact same way as the artist. So if you're listening to the song and you hear that they do like a half bend or pre-bend or things of that nature, hyper focusing on stuff like that, that can make you better because now you're spending that designated time of learning a song to learning it the accurate way of how they played it. A lot of people try to remix these songs. Don't do that if that's your goal. But if you were spending the time after you've worked on the technique, after you've been creative, and now you're focusing on actually learning a song, learn the song the way how the real artist is intending to do it. And then music theory. Oh, my mama, I spent a lot of time about learning a song, but I didn't talk enough about music theory. You don't need no instrument in your hand to practice music theory. There is a website. They also made an app for it. The website is called musictheory.net. I swear up and down by this website. And if you go to that website, I should share my screen to show you how it works. If you go to that website, if you want me to share my screen, leave a comment and I'll share the screen. But if you go to this website, you can click on a button called exercises and just scroll down. Everything is color coordinated. So if you look at the blue things, it might be about reading from the music staff and recognizing notes off the music staff. You may need it, you may not need it. It depends on what type of guitarist you want to be. If you want to be a jazz guitarist or a pit musician for an orchestra, you better learn from reading from the music staff and get good at it. Recognizing the notes and then recognizing how to actually read lines off the music staff. Figuring out where are the open strings of the guitar on the music staff and how to play the notes that's closest to the open string or play them all over the guitar, all those things. Understanding the rhythms, understanding this. But you wouldn't see all of that on musictheory.net. It's more so practice tools, like exercises, like quizzes, like games, if you will. So the blue stuff is about the music staff. Keep scrolling, you might see things about ear training, or you're definitely going to see things about ear training. So hearing things and recognizing it, hearing scales and recognizing it, hearing chords and recognizing it, hearing pitches and recognize it. They might give you a reference note like C, look at me. And then, sorry, I just got too excited about the fact that I recognized there were no C words. C, and then they might give you a second note and you would have to press that's a D. C, E, recognize that's an E. C, F, recognize that's an F. And just get good at ear training. They'll do that for chords. They'll do that for notes. They'll do that for scales, intervals, however you want to go about it. But then they also have stuff specific for the guitar, fretboard note identification. And that is so important. So like knowing the notes that you are playing on your guitar. It might be hard to do those embellishments unless you are fluent with the knowledge of your guitar. Like you know how the intervals work. You understand the scale degrees, the chord shapes, and how to throw in an embellishment that's not just me flailing my fingers and playing a pentatonic shape and playing the same go-to pentatonic shape all over the guitar, because then you're changing the key. But knowing the proper embellishment to apply to the shape of the chord or the line that you are playing. So as I was just playing, what is this song called? Lovely Day. I tried to play that line earlier, but I played it here. That's not in the key, and I should have known better. That's literally in the chord shape that I'm playing. The top two strings, top two pitches of the chord shape that I was playing. But for some reason, I wanted to move it out of that shape to play a little bit more comfortable. And the more that you do these things, the more well-rounded of a guitarist that you become, of a musician that you become, not just guitar. And it allows you to truly advance, not just in, oh, I know these songs, and you don't have to learn every song by song by song by song, but the dots connect. Now you're driving home and you already know all of the stores that you're passing. You don't have to always search on your navigation every single time that it's time to figure out where to go. So let's say you're driving home and somebody say, oh, I need to stop by the pharmacy, and I need to stop by the Dollar General, and I need to stop by this, and I need to stop by that, and I need to stop by this. You know where all of those locations are because it's already in your route. You don't have to think about, oh, how do I do this and plan it out. It's just already in your head. You just already know it. So back to the questions. Sorry, that was a tangent about the four aspects of practice, but I feel like everybody should be doing that. Yeah, that's most people. They slip into the mode of just playing instead of focusing on the things that they need to improve on. And I mean, it really just depends on if that's your goal. Like, I know I just hyper emphasize that, but if your goal is not to be a professional gigging musician, professional studio musician, professional any aspect of a musician, but you're just a hobbyist or you're just creating for the expression and the creativity of the art, then don't beat yourself up about not knowing enough. Just be content with the fact that you know what you know. Appreciate you, Izzy. I doubt you're still alive, but I did enjoy my Thanksgiving. Get you on the next one. Haley, should you use a metronome during practice? There's benefits to not, and there's benefits to doing so. I recommend getting a good metronome, a metronome that is flexible. I spent money when I was in high school on a tuner metronome combo. Where my iPad's in the other room. On a tuner metronome combo, and the app was like $5.99 or something. And people would question me on why I spent that money. But the people who questioned me were people who didn't see the vision. They didn't know that I wanted to be a full-time musician. They were just people who were just in the band with me. So like they weren't really investing. They got the free stuff. I spent money on this app called Tonal Energy Tuner. The metronome is so good because not only does it just give you a steady beat, it'll give you the subdivisions. So if it's time to hear eighth notes, it'll give you the eighth notes, triplets. If you need to change the time signature, if you need to program time signatures, it gives you all of that. If you need to change the sound, if you want to hear a voice that says the words 1, 2, 3, 4 on top of the beats, it gives you all of that. So oftentimes when I'm listening to a metronome, I'm not listening to just basic clicks. Like if you type in the word metronome on Google, it'll give you the most basic metronome ever. Just a steady beat, a steady click. When I'm listening to a metronome, I'm listening to a groove because as a musician, as a guitarist, you're going to sound square if the only thing that you have is steadiness. It's gonna sound good, don't get me wrong. But if you have some type of swing that can play from your metronome, it'll give you a little bit more of a musical feeling to it. Case in point, I had my students learning this song called Master Blaster by Stevie Wonder. That song is swung 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 swing versus straight. That's straight. And it's not the same song anymore. But when they're listening to that metronome and they hear that, they're like, yeah, this is hidden. Well, another feature about that metronome that I love, it allows you to tap on the actual numbers of the metronome. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you tap on one will be emphasized every single time the measure comes around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oftentimes when we're playing that song and we're playing it at a part that just feels like the full groove, I'll emphasize 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So you'll have the swing, but you'll still have the 2s and 4s emphasized. So it kind of gives it more of a, wow, I'm enjoying this feel, rather than just a, oh, I'm playing to click, 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 click. And then we get to a certain point, I change it from the 1, 2, 4 to just the 1 and the 3. So now instead of it sounding like this, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it has this. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So kind of like a halftime feel. Anyway, though, great advice, Paul. Hey, by the way, what did you say earlier about arpeggiated chords? Is that like Green Day's Time of Your Life, where they pick the strings in the chord to make the chord sound full? Arpeggiated chords, I'm not too familiar with that specific title. I do know Green Day, but I don't do well with song names. I'm pretty horrible when it comes to that. But arpeggiated chords are essentially where you're playing one note of a chord at a time. So instead of just strumming the full chord, that's an arpeggio. 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of 1. Because I could just play it as simple as that. Or I could arpeggiate it. And arpeggios don't have to always be so linear. It doesn't have to be like low to high or vice versa, high to low. But you can mix and mingle. So that's arpeggios, arpeggiated chords. They are essentially when you are playing individualized notes, broken notes of a chord instead of the full chord all at once. And actually, it is good to practice your arpeggios all over the guitar and to play them linearly. That way you know how it works within the retrospect of the scale. So that first arpeggio that I played was C minor. That's arpeggio, 1 octave. 1, flat 3, 5, 1, 5, flat 3, 1. Oh. I meant to play that. That's the arpeggio, 2 octaves. Figuring out the best place to play it on the guitar, but that was just only in my G shape. But learning it in the E shape too. Oh. all over the guitar. It's very beneficial to learn it all over the guitar. I might have struggled with it just then, but I was trying to think about the fact that I didn't have an upper bout, or I have an upper bout in the way of like a cutaway, so I could play higher notes and all of those things. But yeah. Mm. I knew that. I knew that. Another thing, Haley, about if you should use a metronome when you practice. Me just then, I was not using a metronome. And I was just telling my wife about this the other day. When you do use a metronome, though, it kind of forces you from repeating things without being in time. So I messed up those notes a few times. And as I was messing up, I just stopped worrying about the timing. I stopped worrying about anything. I just kept repeating what I was messing up and tried to get it right. So if I just played that line, oh, and I kind of just stopped and restarted. You don't have that luxury of stopping and restarting. I think music isn't necessarily a race, but it's kind of like, think about it, if you were on the track. Although music is not a race, I'm not telling you to speed through everything. But if you're running on the track and you stumble, you do not have the luxury of going back to where you were so that you don't stumble. You just have to keep moving. Same point of if you were playing an instrument. If you were playing with a metronome and you happen to stumble, the metronome is not going to stumble with you. So even if you mess up, you have to keep going to that groove. If you are not playing with a metronome, though, you are giving yourself the freedom to get off and to like get your fingers in order and to waste that time in order to actually get your life together. And getting your life together does not help you. Like you should. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You should be getting your life together, but getting your life together when it comes to playing an instrument does not help you in the long run. Like you need to work your speed up so that you can hyper focus on, or if you were to work on a metronome just so that you are focusing on getting your life together, working your speed up to do both of those back and forth in time with the metronome probably matters better than playing to a metronome and then leaving gaps, like wasting time trying to get your life together. Like you're not really allowed to do that, especially when you're playing live. Oof, if you were playing live and you stumbled across a few things, people are going to notice. Like there's not a lot of leeway for you to just. I'm losing my train of thought with that, but yeah, I mean, metronome practice, good practice, especially if you're trying to build skill and build technique. Anyway, though, I've been live for about 90 minutes, give or take. I would like to mention that I's dudes be's getting tired of being live. My brain is not as combobulated as I would like for it to be anymore. So If you are interested in pursuing free guitar lessons, I'm offering free guitar lessons. The way how you can partake in those free guitar lessons, email me to make life easier instead of me putting it um on the live stream. Just email me. I just typed my email in the chat. It's contact@paulnealmusic.com. Email me for free guitar lessons. I will respond to you, give you the code, give you the cheat code, help you become the best guitarist that you need to be. I'm not charging for this. I'm just doing it just out of the pure love of the instrument. So anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. I had to find my camera. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. That way you can start tomorrow better than how you started today. Anyway though, peace out, Girl Scouts. Hold it down, Cub Scouts.